Chad, it's the most prestigious time of the year. It is the My Favorite Games of 2023 Good Games by Vinny Vinesauce time of the year. So I do this every year where I basically just show you a list of games I really like. And I made this list tonight, so I might be missing something. It's possible. I made this PowerPoint, and as you can tell, I'm very good at this. So, I will say, yes, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the Labor of Love Award. Absolutely. A game that hasn't been updated in 3 years. The Steam Awards were a huge troll. And anyway, I have to wrap it up. I'm sorry, chat. So let's continue. So here's the first thing I want to show you is this game. What is that? How do I go to the next slide? Oh, press enter. No, that didn't work. That didn't work either. All right, I'm just gonna like press the arrow. Yeah, I'm just gonna press the arrow keys. Wow, that didn't work either. What the hell's going on here, chat? I'm an expert at this. All right, good. So here's what we're going to be doing. Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon is my my first game. Now, this series of 10 games could probably be almost in any order. I know that's a little bit of a cop-out, but hear me out. It's hard to quantify 100% for me which game I liked more than another game when there were so many games this year that I felt were just as good. This year had too many good games, which makes this a little bit harder to go through and actually like quantify how much I like a game. So I'm going to say a little bit about each game. I will say that the games starting here I liked a little less than the games later in the list, but honestly, almost any of these games in the top 10 could be like probably my favorite. So Armored Core 6 was my first Armored Core. It's a FromSoft game. It ended up really winning me over. The story, the music was a lot better than I expected by the time I actually looked into it. And I didn't really get too much of the story. That aside, all of that aside, the gameplay was incredible. So much fun to go through, bonk mechs, and use pile bunks, and shoot guns. It was awesome. So I see why some people would say that this is their game of the year. It's really good. Then we got Resident Evil 4 Remake, which did the impossible. It justified its own existence. Unbelievable. This game did a great job. It's not going to replace my playthroughs of Resident Evil 4 Original, because that has a special place in my heart. But as a companion piece to that, it's a good game. Again, shooting's good. The visuals are incredible. I think they did some decent characterization. I like the originals better. But all the side quest stuff was really appropriate. All the little additions to the world were nice. I thought it was a really solid remake that did not need to exist. Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It's a little lower on my list because 2D Mario games I love, but it's still, you know, I played so much 2D Mario. This game was really creative. At the end of the day, it's still a platformer. However, they did a really good job unleashing the vine. They did a good job with all the Wonder Seeds. They did weird shit all over the fucking every level, and it ended up being like I 100%ed it, and the final level was surprisingly challenging. I expected it to be challenging, but it was fun. So yeah, Mario Wonder was a huge success for me, even if it is still just kind of like Mario platforming. The coat of paint on it, and a lot of the music, the visuals, the different playable characters made it something special. I just wish the bosses were better. And then you have the complete opposite video game, which is Amnesia the Bunker. I might have liked Mario better than Amnesia, but again, this list isn't definitive. This was one of my favorite horror games I've played in a while. Really good pacing, scary. The survival horror aspect of, like, you know, not having a lot of ammo and having to manage your resources was, to me, really well done. The monster was actually fucking scary. The setting was amazing. And when you piece together what happened, it was, I don't know, it was pretty horrifying. So, really huge, I don't know, step forward for me in the Amnesia series. And I wonder what they'll do next. Really liked it. Super Mario RPG Remake. Again, not sure where this belongs in my top 10 overall, but I love Mario RPG. I'm blinded by the nostalgia. It was just an amazing remake. Faithful, great compositions. Yoko Shimomura's original soundtrack really shines here. The post-game, like, it's a couple hours, like 3-4 hours, but I thought it was great because, yes, the original game was a little easier, but the post-game, you have to apply everything you've learned. So, to me, this is like a faithful remake with just enough new stuff. And again, the point of it were the upgraded visuals. And it had those, and it looked great. So I loved it. It was just really nice to revisit this game. Blasphemous 2 ended up being another huge surprise for me. I know some people like the first one more for the mood, which, looking back, like, I kind of can't remember if the mood was, like, that much better in Blasphemous 1. But everything else in Blasphemous 2 worked better for me. From the Metroidvania, like, map, like the way you traverse all the areas, to the weird titty man. There's a weird titty man. There's a lot of strange, like, religious symbolism that just was like, what am I looking at? Music was awesome. Gameplay was fucking solid. To me, a huge upgrade over Blasphemous 1. Well, maybe not huge, but enough of one that I remember some of the stuff in Blasphemous 1, like some of the platforming didn't really work for me. In 2, it was solid. I mean, if you're waiting for Hollow Knight, Silksong, this is a pretty good game to keep you, you know, busy in the meantime, I feel. Maybe not the same thing, but it's good. Pizza Tower. Now, some people would probably want to see this be my favorite game of the year just because it's Pizza Tower. But one of the things I loved about Pizza Tower was how fucking insane it was. It was like every level kept you invested. If you got bored, well, the level would then end and then you go to another one and there's another weird mechanic. Every level has something new. It's a lot of fun to play. It's a weird mix of Sonic and, like, Wario. And I don't really typically love Sonic too much, like the speedy gameplay, because I just crash into walls. So this game solves that. You just run up the walls. It really worked for me. Yeah, no, it's a great game. Everything that kind of surrounds the Pizza Tower, you know, there's a lot of love for this game. And I feel like it's all deserved in so many ways. But at the end of the day, it's just a fun platformer, and we aren't getting new Wario games. We're getting WarioWare, but we're not getting, like, classic Wario Land. So Pizza Tower delivers. Great game. Cyberpunk 2077, The Phantom Library. This is a cool game because they actually ended up delivering on their promise, kind of. So, hear me out. Taken as its own expansion, as its own contained story, the whole environment of Dogtown, like, it felt like its own little mini open world game. Sure, the game still has problems, but the writing, the pacing of it, the way they revitalized the gameplay, it made it feel like its own kind of thing compared to the rest of the game, and I like that. The thing that gets me about this, and one of the reasons I know this ended up making an impact on me, is because when this came out, I stopped playing Starfield. And I was like, oh, why am I even playing Starfield? Because this just feels so much better. And I actually care about the characters. And I actually am invested in this world. And there were moments where you would just stop and look and be like, wow. I will not deny the original Cyberpunk 2077 launched in a pitiful state. And some of the promises were not delivered. And there were a lot of things that were still glitchy, not as much as launch. But I had a great time with this, and I was surprised that they managed to turn the ship around, and happy that they did so. So, good game. Again, not sure if I like this more than Pizza Tower, but it's great. Pikmin 4. It was everything I wanted in a Pikmin game, and Pikmin more. It had so many good elements to it. The new Pikmin, the underground areas, the challenges, the worlds were nice looking and cohesive. There's this really, really nice sense of progression. The Dandori issues. It was just so much fun to play. I loved it. Some like Pikmin 2 better, but there were many others that I think prefer Pikmin 4. I'm one of the Pikmin 4 people. I see where 2 still has that like kind of edge in the series, but I don't know, for me at this point in my life, I think 4 just ticked all the right boxes. I almost had no issues with it, really. Just a lot of fun. And, you know, maybe some missing control issues, but then you kind of get all of that anyway. Like, using the right stick to wiggle your Pikmin into a line. I know that was, like, kind of missing, and then they kind of did it. But yeah, I love Pikmin 4. It was just so much fun to play. Oh, what a surprise. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So, is this my favorite game of the year? I don't know. I really don't. And the reason I don't know is because, it's a retrospect problem. This happened with Breath of the Wild, too. Where the adventure was amazing, and it did something incredible. This was a really good magic trick. It recaptured the feeling of playing Breath of the Wild for the first time, which I never thought I would get again. Now, it had been like almost 7 years. My memory's not amazing. But all the weird little devices that you can construct, the actual dungeons were better. There were a lot more, like, ways to play the game. And I like that. It still suffers from the same problems Breath of the Wild does, which is maybe the storytelling being non-linear and kind of, like, very simple. But when it delivers, it really delivers. Excuse me, in the story department. Music is still sparse. It's the same Hyrule. So yeah, of course there's going to be some stuff. But all the Sky Islands were great. And I played this more than any other game this year. And those were some of my favorite streams of the year. I mean, it's my longest stream to date. It's like 8.5 hours almost of one session of day 1 release of Tears of the Kingdom. So, I loved it. But would I play it again? I don't know. That's why I'm not really sure. I mean, games, it's hard to quantify, like I said earlier, like, what is better game? And it's just so subjective, and it's like, your mind can change, you can view a game differently years from now. Though, I will definitively say, this was the most fun I had playing a game. It was the most excited I was playing a game this year, and it was also the longest I spent playing a game. So that's got to count for something. I will miss it. Great game. I have a special mention for Metroid Prime Remaster. The reason I have this here is because, I already know I love Metroid Prime, and I already know that this game was going to be, like, somewhere high on my list, just because I love it so much. And, it's just a remake of that. It's like a remaster, and it's just, it looks beautiful. I think it plays better because the tool, excuse me, not tool, the twin, I want to say twin or 2 analog stick configuration. And for that reason, you know, It just feels like Metroid Prime, but a little bit better. It looks like Metroid Prime, but a lot better. And it came out of nowhere, and it was only $40. So I can't say this is my favorite game of the year, but I already love Metroid Prime so much, it had to go on my list somewhere, and it's not an honorable mention. But because it's so similar, I mean, you know, Mario RPG Remake, you could make the same argument, but that goes from a 16-bit game to modern visuals. It doesn't really change the gameplay, but they did change the gameplay. They added and changed some stuff and lots of quality of life. Whereas Prime, there's quality of life stuff, but only a little bit, and the original was still very, very playable and still really nice looking. So, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I loved it, and I'm glad it exists. So we got a long list of honorable mentions because this year had some amazing releases. I wanted to shout out the Quake 2 remake for being incredible, and finally, it made me love Quake 2. And I had some issues with Quake 2, and now I appreciate it a whole lot more. It was just a really good Night Dive remake. Again, quality of life stuff, beautiful visuals, like just really staying in line with the original, like, feel of the models, updating them. Just a really fun game. Love the remake. Halls of Torment is like a Vampire Survivors-esque Diablo game. It is my Diablo game of the year. And I've been playing it again recently, and it's just so good. Just a lot of fun. RoboCop Rogue City, I think I'm almost done with, because I'm getting closer to the end of it, and it is any other year, I might put this in my top 10 if I manage to finish it, but so far it's just really fun, and as a RoboCop fan, I loved how it continued the story from RoboCop 2, really digs into the story of Murphy, and it ends up being something really great. And again, you pulp. You actually pulp enemies. Simple, fun gameplay. I know it's only like a 9 to 10 hour long game. That's all it needs to be. Perfect. Mussolina should probably not be on my honorable mention list. It should probably be elsewhere. So we're going to go ahead and... I have another category that'll go in. It's great, but I'll talk about it later. Dead Space Remake. Any other year, that would have been top 10. Easily. It's almost as good, if not better, than the Resident Evil 4 remake. Loved it. So, yeah, I think it's Dead Space, and they improved a lot of things, and they still kept the spirit of the original, and it is a beautiful game, and hopefully this revitalizes Dead Space as a series. WarioWare Move It is not my favorite game of the WarioWare series, but it was fun. People enjoyed watching me play it. I enjoyed playing it. It's short. Most WarioWare games, the two on the Switch, they're pretty short games. But you know, this one you move around. Sometimes it didn't register the fucking Joy-Con. What else is new? It's fine. It needs some work. It needs some, you know, better tech, maybe. They need to do a VR WarioWare. But that said, still fun, still good, and a sequel to the other one. You know, the one with the Wiimotes. So, for that, it deserves to, you know, be on the list. F-Zero 99 could also have been a top 10, because I played so much of it. And I loved it, and somehow they brought back F-Zero in a way that initially felt disappointing until you played it, and then it was just a lot of fun. And I never got that first place, but the hunt for first place made me enjoy the game a lot. And it was a fucking wild concept. Like, here's like a survival kind of like elimination game, but F-Zero, and it made perfect sense to me. So maybe the best of that type of game. Aliens Dark Descent. You know, there's a category I have of games I didn't fully play. I think I got about halfway through Aliens Dark Descent, so maybe that shouldn't be on this list. in the honorable mentions, but I'm going to leave it here because I did see a good chunk of what that game has to offer. It's one of the best Alien games of that franchise I've played. It's like a kind of strategy, but more real-time XCOM, and it's just great. I didn't finish it because there's so many other fucking games this year that came out, but I remember really, really enjoying it and feeling like it's as tense as the Aliens movie is to watch. So, why is Final Fantasy 16 on my honorable mentions? Once again, any other year, it might have made top 10. I had some issues with it. I think the game is pretty great in a lot of ways. It also suffers from just me getting kind of bored, you know, and there were times I was just sitting there like, oh god. Okay, we got an hour of watching some stuff and some villagers talking and going and killing some boars. Okay, got it. You know, the pacing of the game just felt bad to me. It really did, and this is coming from someone who loves a good classic RPG, and it just didn't quite fit the bill for me in that sense. What I did love about it was when it got crazy, like with the summons and everything, it was amazing. It was like as good as anything I've seen from the series. The music from Soken may have been some of the best of the year. The acting from the characters, from the voice actors, may have been some of the best of the year. Special shout out to Ben Starr as Clive. Maybe best performance of the year. And then, you know, there was other things too, like the combat was DMC light, which was fun. It had its moments where it was really fun, and then it had moments where my brain was glazed over. What can you do? So yeah, I mean, moving the series into that style of gameplay, I don't know how I feel about it, but it left an impression. I enjoyed it, and the story of Clive and Joshua, and I guess Jill was there too, I'm not sure. Hard to remember. And Sid and this world, I thought was interesting, but it just didn't do enough to make my top 10. But I'm glad it exists. I'm glad I played it. It was definitely a solid game. My Friendly Neighborhood was Living Muppets You Shoot. It was fun. Slayers X is a game where you play as Zane and you shoot. It was fun. Dead Island 2, there's zombies. You shoot. It's fun. Better with friends. I played it with Dave and Jeff. We enjoyed it. It wasn't anything special, but it wasn't anything bad by any means. Way better than I expected it to be. Solid game to just pick up and just hack off zombie limbs. It was alright. Definitely better than it had any right to be, considering the delays. We Love Katamari reroll. It's We Love Katamari. It's remake. It's good. Never played We Love Katamari. I just enjoyed it. It was really good. Then you have Advance Wars 1 and 2. I could talk about this one. You know, the style is something that pisses people off for that game. It didn't bother me so much. I think there's probably better ways they could have gone about it. This game was delayed. It was not promoted. Chances are this just, like, killed any future potential for the series. But it's still Advance Wars. It's still fun. And it is a game that you know, you can very, very easily get that Advance Wars feeling from, and for that alone, it deserves a spot on my list. Interior Worlds, I played, and I enjoyed, and I think that game absolutely deserves to be on the list. Oh, but the dev is in chat right now, actually. It was just a really interesting exploration game with the, you know, quote-unquote liminal stuff, but it did so much more than that. And it really, like, kind of the types of games like the low poly, you know, PS1 throwback games, it did that better than most other games I've played. So, really just cool environments, really fun to play through. Good game. Dredge, I've seen on people's lists as, like, being one of the best of the year, actually. Believe it or not. And I don't really agree with that. There's some stuff with Dredge I didn't love, because it does get a little bit, like, go back and forth. There's some light Lovecraft, and you go fish, and then you go back, and you go fish, and you go back. I wish there were, like, more sanity effects. I wish there were some more things that could happen in the ocean. That said, I kind of loved the game. If you can, you know, if you watch the videos of me playing it, I got really into it. I had a lot of fun going from the various islands and solving the little environmental puzzles. More Lovecraftian stuff would have been nice, but what was there was great. And just doing the fishing was, like, really addictive. Upgrading your ship was addictive. I know there's a new DLC for it, haven't played it, but Dredge was a game I would recommend, especially if you can get on sale, and the concept seems interesting to you. I think it's good. It's not perfect, but not much is. Sons of the Forest, I guess, is only on here. I played it because it ended up being fun with friends again. And me and my mods played it. We had a good time with it. There were some freaks in that game that you have to, like, pulp. There's weird, like, caves. There's bosses. It's the forest, but more. And we built, like, a weird little base. And I remember there being, like, human meat. So I think it's a cool game. Maybe. I don't know if it's still getting updates. It needed some. But what I played was good. And it was enjoyable. So I forgot that Kirby's Return to Dreamland came out this year, the deluxe edition. I'm including it just because it's a good game and was a good game on the Wii. And so I wanted to have it on the list because I had fun with it. If you played the original, it's just more of that, but a little better looking and some new stuff. It's a good game. Half Sword, I have on the list because I'm really looking forward to a full release. Again, maybe this doesn't deserve a spot in the quote-unquote honorable mentions as opposed to games I haven't spent a lot of time with, but I did spend a couple hours on it, and it was one of the most addictive, weirdly addictive experiences I've had all year. So I'm looking forward to a full release of that. Lethal Company. It's good with friends. It's funny. It makes dying fun. It became a huge fucking thing out of nowhere. And it kind of, in some ways, does what Phasmophobia did, but the barrier for entry is a lot lower. And the game just has all these weird things in it, and you get a bunch of people together, and you scream, and there's a dog that eats you, and you jank through a wall, and you get glitched, and it's just fun. There are times when it's kind of boring for me, but what makes it fun is the interactions with your teammates. And therefore, it is good game. Is that Pac-Man? Turok 3 Remaster I included because Turok 3 is another one of those games that I was looking forward to, and it ended up being just Turok 3. However, it's on the list because Night Dive did an amazing job with it. And it was a thankless job. There's no reason for them to remaster this game. But they did so. It took like a year and a half, I guess. That's what one of their dev team said in my chat. And they redid the models, they upscaled stuff, and they made it playable. For like 3 people in this world to play. Me being one of them. So it was good, but it's also Turok 3, which in retrospect was just kind of okay. So here's some games that didn't release in 2023 that I played. Now, I only included a couple Steam games because, you know, I don't really know how to go about this, but Against the Storm was on my list last year in my top 10. It did technically release this year, but I wasn't going to include it again. So yes, even though it just quote-unquote released this year, earlier in December, it's still a game I played many, many hours of, and still love, and I feel like over the course of the year it got even better. So I just wanted to include it. Dorf Romantique, I think I'm saying that right, is another game I got kind of addicted to for a little while, and you put together pieces of land, and it was just something I would play while drinking my morning coffee. Good game. And Potion Craft is another game that I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did, but you just make little potions. And that's it. You sell potions at a potion shop. You are the potion seller. So. There's probably more. Like, I mean, the problem I have with this category is, do I include, like, Parasite Eve? You know what I mean? Like, how far back do I go? I just included some games that came out within the past, like, 2 years. Because I played, you know, like, Donkey Kong Country 3, I played a bunch of different things. So, it's kind of hard. Like, yeah, where is Shirime Curse of the Butt Eye? Good point. We'll get to that. That's not it. There we go. So, I only played some of these games, and when I say some, I mean, like, less than half. Probably. So, Sea of Stars, I only played a little bit. It didn't grab me. I also was playing it at a time when there were major releases. Some people put this in their Game of the Year list. I thought it was visually great. Gameplay was good. The story didn't hook me. The music was amazing. And it just looked like a solid RPG. I wanted to include it because it's nice that games like this are being made. And I don't know if I'll ever return to it. But again, it's one of those games that I see very divided opinions on. I see either, you know, stuff like where it's Game of the Year or it's just kind of okay. But I liked it enough to play it a little bit, and I enjoyed it. Chat rage bait list. Yeah. Well, I mean, why would anyone rage? You didn't make the games. No one here made these games except that one person. Starfield, for example. I put some time into that game. There was a post I read, and it was my exact experience, which is like, hour 1 to 5 is just like, oh, that's it? That's what this game is? And then you kind of get into it, like I did, and I was like, oh shit, this is actually pretty cool. Okay, you get to make your own ship. Alright, there's so many worlds. Oh wow, I wonder what's on this world. I wonder what's on this world. Oh, wait a minute. It's all the same shit. That sense of discovery that previous Bethesda games had is just kind of lost, because every planet you land on, yeah, there's like maybe some planets have these major landmarks, but that, like, feeling of just picking a direction and walking and discovering on every planet, for the most part, is just generated trash of the same stuff, combat is fine. The characters and the world are kind of, like, vapid for me. I didn't really connect with any of it. And I guess I put maybe, like, 20 hours into the game. You know, 15, 20. And that was, like... And then Cyberpunk came out, and that was enough for me. So Starfield, I know, is a thing that is, this is no controversial opinion to say that the game is undercooked and probably, like, 15 years old mechanically in a lot of respects. And yet, somehow, for the Steam Awards, it won Most Innovative Gameplay. Which, by the way, troll list. Troll Awards. There's good stuff in here. I do think there's good stuff in Starfield. I don't think it can be salvaged. There's too many goddamn barriers and loading screens, and just the core philosophy of the game having 1,000 planets, and, you know, so much of it is just random generated nothing. You know, and again, like, this NASA punk thing, where's the punk? It's just, like, bland, boring people, and then there's the fan who is fun. You know, the fucking overeager fan, I forget the name, but... I don't know, adoring fan. Listen, chat, maybe. Maybe I'll return to it in, like, 6 months, see if there's mods, see what Bethesda has done with it. But the most disappointing part is Bethesda, to me, their last great game was still Skyrim, and even that's debatable for a lot of people. But I loved Skyrim, I played through it a bunch. Then there were some, like, decent releases, and then it's just like, now we have to wait 6 years for another Elder Scrolls. But if this game is anything positive for me, it's that maybe Todd and team, you know, when they're not replying to Steam reviews and being negative and saying, don't you need a better PC, or, like, you don't understand. It's fun when the astronauts walk on the moon. When they're not doing that, maybe they can then, you know, in, like, a couple months, they can say to themselves, oh shit, we need to, like, really get back to what made us a good developer, don't we? Like, what did we do wrong with this game? And then correct that for Elder Scrolls 6. Will that happen? I don't think so. But it would be nice. However, the game is perfectly playable. And it's It exists. It is fine. There are things about it that are good. It is fine. I don't want to play any more of it. Not for a while. Baldur's Gate 3, for many, is another game of the year. I only played it one time, like for 4.5, 5 hours. It's not my type of game, 100%. I enjoyed what I played. I got into it. I can see why it's addictive. I resisted the urge. The dark urge. But the fact that anything you do in that game can lead to a branch of like 4 or 5 different outcomes that you can just keep following is amazing. That is what is so special about this game. The player freedom where you can just do whatever you want and follow it through. And it encourages so many playthroughs. I think it's cool as fuck. I just didn't connect with it 100%. I think part of that was I knew if I did, I'd be doomed. And I also just kind of, maybe gameplay-wise, I like turn-based, but I'm not a D&D guy. So I would have to really kind of like spend time, extra time, to get into that world and get invested in it. But what I played for those 4.5, 5 hours, you can watch on the channel. Shout-outs to Vinesauce Full Sauce channel. You know, this isn't an advertisement. It's my own channel. Why would it be an ad? They're not paying me to advertise. It's me. But check it out if you want. It was good. It was a good game. Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun is just a dumb first-person shooter where you shoot a lot. Again, not a world I'm overly familiar with, but I like shooting, and that game has good shooting and good graphics. It's fun. Then you have House Flipper 2, which I thought deserved a little bit of a mention. I only played it twice, one for Jerma's competition, one time just on stream. But the tools to rebuild houses and to clean up houses are really good, and the game has its own little unique style. I like it. I think it's cool. The Last Spell, it's funny that I put this on my list because I probably have, according to my Steam hours, chat, this is number 5 of most played games on Steam of the year. Like, I'm not even kidding. This is a game... How many times did I play this game? Well, you'll see in a little bit. We'll go over that. But this game is basically like a tactics game. There's like a Final Fantasy Tactics kind of thing. And the problem I had is, even on the first fucking level, you have to spend hours to get to the end game scenario for that first area. And if you aren't, like... You know, and then, like, even the second level, that gets way harder. But, like, I'm just saying, it's fun because you have that tactics gameplay, but you have to be precise. And you have to be good. Because if you get to that end game and you're missing a couple things, or you don't have enough characters, or you're just kind of shy on your upgrades and resources, congratulations, you gotta redo 5 hours. So, yeah, good game, though. But hour sink. It does not respect your time. That's the best way I would describe it. Mosalina, I've only played one time, but I loved it. And I want to play more of it. And you will see more of it. Really weirdly creative game. You just get random tools to solve puzzles, and it is truly bizarre and makes you think completely outside the box. And sometimes you use boxes to solve puzzles. So I loved it. Gonna play more of it. Street Fighter 6, I made a character. I made Clonin Orion. I made a Golem, and it was fun. I got to run around a fake New York City, and did a couple matches. I'm not the biggest Street Fighter fan. I'm not the biggest fighting game guy. If I was, this would have been higher on my list. But I played a little bit of it, and I thought it was really cool. SteamWorld Build, I am currently trying to complete one level. It's a very simple city builder. And it's a continuation of the SteamWorld franchise. Solid. Even if a little easy, I think it's a fun little game. We'll play more. Backpack Heroes, another game that is just a roguelite backpack simulation where you collect items. Great fucking Chrono Trigger-esque music. Really fun, innovative gameplay where you get items, you use them in the backpack, they have different abilities when you put them next to each other, and you go through the tower and you kill enemies. You're a pack rat. It's fun. It's good. I recommend it highly. I only played it a little bit, but I loved it. And Hi-Fi Rush, another potential Game of the Year candidate, which is crazy that this is all 1 year. Hi-Fi Rush, I only played one time. You can watch it on the Full Sauce channel. I still get the question, Vinny, why did you only play it once? I don't really have a great answer. Maybe just time constraints because of all the other games. Probably that. But it came out at the beginning of the year, and it's really fun. It's visually beautiful, and it's just a fun game to play. And even though I only played a little bit of it, I wanted to make mention of it because it is good. So, here's my Steam replay, so you can see, you know, you got a couple things there. Against the Storm, and then again, there's Starfield. I didn't play too much Starfield outside of what we had, let me check something here. I want to see my hours. I didn't play that much Starfield outside of what you've seen on stream. I just want to check. So Starfield is 23.8 hours. That's actually more than I expected. So, yeah. Resident Evil 4 was 21.7. And Last Spell was 16.7. Minimal progress in those 16.7 hours, by the way. Crazy. Nintendo recap. So I played 39 total games, 311 total hours on the Switch. Now, I didn't include Fire Emblem Engage on this list because I don't remember any of it. I'm not kidding, chat. I don't remember it. Every time I thought about Fire Emblem Engage in the past couple, like, months, like, when I hear the name of it, I'm like, did I play that? I think I did. I remember Toothpaste Chan. I remember a couple characters. There was some good stuff in there. I get it confused with Three Houses is the problem. And I don't even mean to, like, throw shade at Engage, because it's more Fire Emblem, and it was fun. Even if some of the characters looked like toothpaste. I just get Three Houses and that one confused. But apparently I have way more hours in it than I expected. Didn't finish it, though. But yeah, it was cool, I guess. So I wish I could remember more about it. Engage is better than Three Houses. Engage is dog shit. Oh, okay. Well, there's the chat's duality again. You can see when Tears of the Kingdom came out. So that's right there. And then, here you go. Let me go ahead and... There you go. Yeah. Those are the ones I played. So I'd recommend watching any of these if you haven't seen them, if you want to watch me suffer. You forgot Only Up? I actually really didn't like Only Up. Yeah. Games is good, thank you. Now, before we end this, I will acknowledge that, this game year was amazing in so many ways. Some of the best releases. I didn't even play all the games I wanted to because I just didn't have the time. And there were so many more that I know I missed, that I know chat's going to recommend. I can only keep up with so many games, especially at, you know, the stage in my life too. Like, I like playing games and I still play them like a couple hours a day, but I can't like marathon too frequently, which means I'm going to miss a lot of stuff. So I try to find a balance between playing gaming doing gaming, doing taxes. I love taxes. Every day I do taxes, a little bit. Music, you know, going for a walk, injuring my neck while going for a drink of water in the faucet while brushing teeth, which actually happened today. That was great. You know, those are fun. Just fun things I like to do. Don't even know how it happened, chat. I went to, till I was brushing my teeth, and then my neck went, I'm like, ah! It's not that bad. It's just sore. It's just bizarre. Okay. So, as good as this game year was, there's also, unfortunately, a lot of other crap. Layoffs, greedy corporations buying up all these developers and then firing them. Look what happened with Embracer Group. Look what happened with Free Radical. They were making Time Splitters. They're gone. It's still happening. It's 2024 now, the beginning of the year. There's already companies firing people. So, I don't know much about the industry's inner workings. I don't know how this all goes down with publishers. I just feel bad for people that put years of their life into this hobby and then get a job doing it. And then, because, you know, companies are just like the Kotiks of the world, Bobby Kotiks of the world, you know, there's just this they gotta keep doing and buying, and then, oh wait, we can't afford this, and then people lose their jobs. So, it sucks. I wish I knew... You know, more companies need to be like Costco. We need more like Costco video games companies. Say what you want about Nintendo, and I do agree that Nintendo eats a lot of shit in a lot of ways, but apparently their employees are happy. I read that in an article. I don't know, I'm not there. And I just wish, because I have a lot of game developer friends, and even using Nintendo as an example aside, I just hope that the people who make these games can have a better 2024 and can find some job security. And I also think that we need to get rid of this AAA, like, development cycle of these games have to be these big, giant, cinematic Marvel masterpieces, and you can only make one every 3, 4, 5 years. It's like, I hate to use Rockstar as an example, but make some indie games, or like smaller projects, you know, get some different, spend some time working on some stuff that might, like Bully back in the day. I know that everyone has to have the best graphics and the best everything, but, you know, this year a game called RoboCop came out, based on a movie called RoboCop, and it's in Unreal 5. Yes, it's not like physics masterpiece game, but visuals are really good. And it's a smaller game, and I think it was a huge success. It's a AA game, people are calling it. More stuff like that would be great. But until then, you know, I like big AAA dumb games, but when you get to the point of, you know, it's got to be this huge success and sell billions or, you know, millions of copies and make billions of dollars, whatever. And then it ends up being kind of a turkey. It's just, I don't know, sucks. So I do hope that, I don't know what the answer is. I'm not very smart, and I don't know the inner workings. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know much about, like, how money works, to be honest. But I hope that people can find job security and can follow their passion, because so many games this year have made my life better. Games is good. And, you know, when life gets shitty, it's nice to pop on a video game, whether it be a Tears of the Kingdom, or, I don't know, Slay the Spire, or House Flipper, whatever it may be, or even, like, you know, something that you've played since you were a kid, whatever it is that brings you some happiness in this godforsaken fuck of a world, that's a good thing. So the people that make these games, thank you for making them, whether it's Interior Worlds or Resident Evil 4 Remake. These are things that have brought us happiness and joy. Hope you can find a way to afford the bacon that you put on your plate. That's all. And thank God Bobby Kotick has crumbled like Sauron. Fuck that guy. Seriously. That dude needs to eat a big fucking piece of shit every morning. Just you know, I don't want anything bad to happen to him. He just needs to eat the shit. Because that guy ruined Blizzard. And you have like a game like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 coming out this year that's clearly not finished. Like, it's like, oh, no, we were going to delay that, but we're ready. The game is ready. Like, the game is the same game. And then, like, no single player aside from, like, a very short couple-hour campaign. I didn't even... You know what? I can't even speak to that because I didn't play it. But, yeah, I don't know. And Blizzard has a whole cavalcade of other issues. But it would be nice to get back to that classic Blizzard stuff that we loved so much many, many years ago. So anyway, alright. I'm gonna stop talking. I'm kind of foaming at the mouth, and I don't even know what I'm saying. So, we're gonna take a quick moment so I can catch my breath. Thank you for watching. There are a lot of great games this year, and I'm glad that you stopped by to watch my list. If I missed something, I apologize. And if our lists are a little different, I think that's a good thing. I'm glad that you have a different list than I do, because this year truly was amazing for a lot of releases. So...
Oh, there are only a few things you need for Angel of the Morning Casserole.